Bites, the snack-sized division of Dogpatch Industries for the bro on the go. John, can you remember where you were on January 28th, 1986?
I do, because actually several years ago I had to go into detail about that day for an article I wrote about Ron McNair, who was aboard the Challenger on that fateful day. I happen to know that me and my dad were driving to Troy, North Carolina together to pick up a rug.
You weren't in school?
I was not in school, and actually, when I did a reading of this article in Winston-Salem, my 4th grade teacher was there. She read about it in the paper, and she reminded us that it was a teacher work day, and that's why I wasn't there.
Well, your case is rare because every other person of my generation was in school, glued to the television, watching the launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger into space. And it was also notable because it had the first civilian aboard, Krista McAuliffe, who was a school teacher. In any case, everybody knows what happened. And because every single person in America, and perhaps the globe, saw it, it left an incredibly deep impression. And anytime the American public gets hit with something, there's going to be records made about it. And no event in the mid-'80s provoked more cash-in records, particularly 45 records, than the Space Shuttle Challenger. Not Baby Jessica, not Ayatollah Khomeini, nothing.
Not that Khomeini wasn't coming for that #1 spot.
So today we're going to listen to 2 Challenger tributes, memorials, whatever you'd like to call them, of the dozens, if not hundreds, that exist. All of them usually pretty shitty. But, as you know, American people can be pretty weird. So we're going to start with perhaps the most burnt to a crisp ode to this event, recorded the day it happened.
Ooh.
I spoke to this musician who made this record. He lived in Kansas City, Missouri in 1986. The record is under the name Jupiter Prophet. Such was the weirdness of this record that 15 years ago, I just called him. He was still in the phone book. And he said that he watched it on television. And then he just sat down at his 4-track and made this.
It nearly knocked me blind, it nearly shut me down. Maximum altitude 7 miles high, that's 35,000 feet. Look up into the sky, not down under the ground, no reason to ask him why. A candle in the sky like rockets in legs, it climbs to the end of time, never stopping to let them cry. She's a flower in disguise, but the kitten's on run, and the army sold the guns. Once upon a time I fell into a dream, and nobody wondered why. A satellite laser beam crossed my path. It nearly knocked me blind, it nearly shut me down. Maximum altitude 7 miles high, that's 35,000 feet. Once upon a time I fell into a dream, and nobody wondered why. It's up into the clouds and across the sky, never stopping to let them cry. A candle in the sky like rockets on his legs, it
So he left you with a couple postscript gunshots just to really hammer his point home.
You know, I don't think there was enough gunshots.
Now with more gunshots?
Now with more gunshots.
Perhaps the best example of a personal testimony. He wasn't trying to be like, let's unite in our grief to celebrate this American disaster. He just internalized that shit and was like, this is what the Space Shuttle Challenger means to me, like literally an hour and a half after it happened.
I've looked at these records over the years. They stick out in my mind, and I was like, hey, Dante, check out this. 7 more stars. And you're like, I got it.
The thing about collecting Challenger 45s, and I must admit that I do have like a side quest where if I see them, I've been picking them up. Often you have to kind of read between the lines. Here's the tells. Heroes, skies, 7, stars. Any combination of those 4 words, it's usually a Challenger joint. And literally on January 29th, there was already jokes going around like, what does NASA stand for?
Ooh, I don't know.
Need another 7 astronauts?
Ooh. You know what Fiat stands for?
Fix it again, Tony. Who you talking to?
Right.
Manja.
You know what IROC stands for?
What?
Italian retards out cruising.
Pizza.
Racist acronyms, kind of one of my other side quests.
It's odd because that Carlos Boyce Challenger tribute shuttle from 1985 out of Minneapolis is pretty upbeat.
It hadn't blown up yet. The Challenger had already been on flights. So he was just like, hell yeah, we got space up there. We're going on a plane. And then
I didn't even...
talk to Carlos a year later.
Yeah.
So we'll listen to one more Challenger tribute. We had a difficult time deciding on this one. So there was a really delicate one, like heartstrings type joint by Ted Harden. And it was called Challenger. So that was easy to pull out of the morass of the bins. But I think we'll play this other one, though, which is from a tiny town in West Virginia. It's got like an outlaw rural vibe. But they were also still affected deep in their patriotic hearts.
I mean, I assume we'll do 1, if not 2 more Challenger episodes of Dogpatch. So it's like we're in no rush.
Well, our listeners are lucky we didn't do a full hour because I've got 4 inches of Challenger joints in the back. So this is the Desperado Band, Heroes of the Heavens.
They were heroes of the heavens, their hearts were brave and true. They died trying to make a better life for me and you. They were heroes of the heavens, they left their mark in time. Live forever in our hearts and always in our minds. As the whole world stood there watching as the shuttle went on its way, no one knew the catastrophe that awaited on that fatal day. As the whole world stood there watching as the countdown went along, but so far up that old shuttle shook, Lord, something went wrong. Then a flame came from the shuttle as the whole world held its breath. An explosion came and that shuttle fell, taking 7 souls to their death. Now the world cried on that fatal day that we all stood in unbelief. And everyone worldwide felt the sorrow and the grief. Oh, the heroes of the heavens, their hearts were brave and true. They died trying to make a better life for me and you. They were heroes of the heavens, they left their mark in time. Live forever in our hearts and always in our minds. Now every time that we look up. Let's say a prayer for those brave 7 who now have earned the title Heroes of the Heavens. They were heroes of the heavens, their hearts were brave and true. They died trying to make a better life for me and you. They were heroes of the heavens, they left their mark of time. They live forever in our hearts and always in our minds.